Yes, I know the title says that I'm picking on it, but that was just a play on words. What I'm actually doing is giving my own personal critiques and opinions on what I dislike about the Creepypasta Wiki, mainly on things that I feel like shouldn't be on the wiki at all, or just stuff that could use improvement. If any of the admins are watching this video, please keep in mind that none of what I'm saying in this commentary is meant to be malicious or spiteful. I'm simply stating my opinion, and if you have a counter say, feel free to give one. Just because we think differently doesn't mean we should have disdain for each other, of course. Anyways, on with the discussion. First thing I want to dunk on for a moment is the spin-off appeal and deletion appeal systems. Starting with the spin-off appeal. To those who don't know, the spin-off appeal page is a part of the wiki where if someone's spin-off story, quote-unquote, gets either deleted, or if they want to show their work to the admins to see if it's good enough, they would post about it in said page with the title, description, etc. My problem with the spin-off appeal system is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. I'm not doing this to brag in the slightest, but I'm going to use one of the stories I've written as an example. More than once, actually. You guys remember that ear neck narration I did, right? I posted that on the Creepypasta Wiki, not knowing that the spin-off appeal rules were implemented, which was indeed my bad. However, people were telling me that it was well written and seemed like a story that met up to the quality standards. Despite what they said, and even though this story wasn't even Lost Episode or video game related, it was taken down anyway, solely because it was based on an existing franchise. It doesn't matter if it follows the quality standards or not. If it's based on a book or cartoon, it gets trashed. The reason that's given for the spin-off appeal system being placematted is the fact that people continuously came onto the website posting bad stories with the same cliches and tropes implemented in previous ones. Even so, why not just remove those stories and put the reasons given for stories being denied in the spin-off appeal section on the actual stories page marked for deletion itself? Each page that is marked for deletion is given a good reason why it's being deleted, mainly if it's a story that isn't a spin-off. If it is a spin-off, then that's usually the only reason given, which I think can be quite demotivating to someone who is new to the wiki. Not only that, but there's still people who post these spin-offs even after the appeal page was announced, so poorly written schlock is still going to hop on from time to time. One suggestion given on the appeal page is that if your request has been denied, or you don't want to use the spin-off appeal, you can post the story on the Spinpasta Wiki. Oh man. This is an assumption, and I'm not trying to be rude, but the Spinpasta Wiki is full of terribly written stories that are either halted at the work in progress stage or have the same exact premise altogether. If you do find a story that is genuinely meant to be a creepypasta and not something fanfiction like, it's usually full of, how do I say this, edgelord tripe or shock value for the sake of adding to the scare factor. Therefore, from what I've seen on the wiki, I feel like the reason that website is suggested now in the spin-off appeal page is because it has little to no moderation to the point where it pumps out stories that are more comedic than scary. Mainly, what I'm saying is that Spinpasta is kind of a safe haven for stories that, well, didn't get improved upon. Personally, if I were an admin, I would just remove the spin-off appeal page altogether, but that's just my thoughts. As for the deletion appeal page, I feel like it should be kept if, say, there was a story with a blacklisted subject that was like, say, actually well written and intriguing. However, if you look at the deletion appeal page, every single submission is denied with the reason given below. If the story is badly written and the deletion mark on the story's page explaining what exactly wrong with it is there, what's the point of reiterating the reason on the deletion appeal page? It doesn't exactly connect. Here's a subject that I'll only get into a short discussion on. Stories that aged horribly, like sour milk mixed with Red Bull. This problem was handled with super classic stories, such as Happy Yappy, Jeff the Killer, Laughing Jack, etc., you know. However, there are still some stories from a long while back on this wiki that not only didn't age well, but are just downright awful. For example, Judith Barcy. Judith Barcy is a confusing mess of a story that uses a tragedy, a real tragedy, that being the murder of a real child actor, for the sake of disturbing the author. Or Gypsy Magic, a story that literally isn't a creepypasta and is just someone's erotica fanfiction. My advice would be to create some sort of deletion submission page, where the admins can look back on it to see if it is truly deserving of a deletion. Now, keep in mind, I'm not referring to stories that simply didn't age well. There's a lot of stories on that site that didn't, especially ones on the historical archive, but you can tell those stories were competently written and had some idea going for them at the time. I'm talking about stories that take it to the next level in the bad scale. This last subject I'm going to be talking about is more so just a personal ick of mine. And when it comes to any creepypasta story, whether it's on this wiki or not, that subject is the AI image generation system. In my honest opinion, AI art is a flimsy way to replace actual artists, usually due to general uncreativity or the fact that it's thrown into commercial use. Sometimes AI art is used as a visual aid of what the story is supposed to be about. I can sort of understand using it in case you absolutely can't find what you're looking for, no matter how hard you try. But let's just say your story is about something specific, like a baby. It's not that hard to go on Google Images and find a picture of a baby for your story about one. But what if you need something much more specific, like a graphic depiction of, putting this in quotes, something really bad happening? AI isn't going to give that to you, depending on what it is you're looking for. Back to the ear neck example. That sketch I made for it took me time to do. I drew it by hand, without the use of a prompt. That generates pure plagiarism for you. The image generator that was suggested to me was the Bing image creator that was released last year. And keep in mind, said image creator, what it does is it gathers other people's works and mashes them together to create an AI image. That is plagiarism. Putting Mr. Crocker into the prompt would give you a message asking you for, say, something more specific. But when you put Mr. Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents in there, you get pictures of characters that don't look like Mr. Crocker, and instead give you images with errors and inconsistencies, such as, say, no ear on the neck or different types of clothing. And it can get much worse if you were to generate something like, say, anime, something advanced. AI images just don't fit with creepypastas from my perspective, and I'd rather not let a machine replace me. I much rather prefer searching for someone who can help, paid or not, do it myself, or just use something from Google Images, or just don't use an image. Then this is simply what I would rather do. I'm not making others do this. I can't do that. Also, here's a little gripe I have. AI-generated stories aren't allowed on the website because they're both lazy and promote the replacement of actual writers. Yet when it comes to art specifically, AI-generated images are allowed to replace artists. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have to say. If you want to express your opinion about what you think of these subjects I listed, or a different subject in general, leave it in the comments below. What is something you'd do if you were an admin of the wiki? I'd love to hear what you have in mind. That's all I have to say for now, and as always, Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next narration. Bless.